Morning from Nasca. We are still in our hotel and we just had our breakfast.
Well, yesterday actually we went out on the Peru Hop bus and looked at the Nasca lines. We saw 2 or 3 of them, and we saw them from a tower.
Oh wow!
Which was quite high, but it actually didn't give us quite the view we wanted. So last night we decided we're going to do something a little bit different.
We are currently waiting for the Aeronasca to pick us up because we're going to do something really cool today.
Yeah, we're going to go flying.
Yes.
Going up in a plane. We figure that, you know, if you can see it from a tower, you can see it much better from an airplane. So that's what we're going to do today.
We're here.
Okay, we had a little bit of a wrench in our plans this morning. They picked us up at 10 o'clock at the hotel. They brought us all the way here, and then they told us that all of the flights had been delayed by about 3 hours. Why they couldn't tell us that? Because they've known this for a couple of hours now.
Well, the visibility was bad this morning, so everything kind of pushed back about 2 or 3 hours.
And I completely understand. Obviously, you don't want to take people up.
It happened. So anyway, so I think we are switching our plans around, but have to be flexible. And we're gonna do a excursion this morning.
So we're just switching. We're gonna go from morning to the cemetery and then afternoon to the flight, which is totally fine. You know.
A day in Nasca.
A day in South America. We have seen these things all over Nasca, like mountains of them, so we're going to try one. Relatively easy to peel.
Want to see first bite? Refreshing?
Very tart.
Really?
Yeah, but they're good though. That's the way. It's actually the way I like them.
Hi, good morning.
Where are you from? No, the mummification system in Chauchilla.
We made it to Chauchilla Cemetery, and now we're going over to take a look. It's beautiful out here. The sky is really super clear. I was able to charge my camera in the car because I forgot to bring an extra battery. And how beautiful is this?
Yeah,
Sure. It's a native cotton plant here in the Nasca region, and it's actually brown color instead of white.
From here we have the Pan American Highway.
2,000-year-old llama poop.
Oh, guinea pig poop.
Guinea pig poop.
Yeah.
And they're all over here. Fascinating.
This is in some cases we have the llama's bones. It's not the bones.
Yeah, that's a big. That would be a big.
Yeah. Because the Inca people were fishermen. Fishermen, musicians, hydraulic engineer. Because these people were made the underground channels like this to bring the water from the highlands. That's why in these valleys we
I'm really glad we came here.
It's a special place for sure. The Chauchilla. Oh God, well, I can't even.
Yeah, we won't remember part. We won't remember most of it, but
in front of us, there's actually a part of the Andes that is very colorful. So that's my favorite mountain anyway.
yeah, it's what they used to make paint too. They went up into the mountains and took a lot of these minerals that are carved into different colors, and they made paint out of it. And they painted bodies, and they just did everything with it.
Yeah, and we passed a big sand dunes that actually higher than Huacachina. And our tour guide actually said every year that kind of grows like 3 centimeters higher. It keeps growing, and he's practicing sandboarding one of the cliff, and he said that the height is about 600 meters. That is pretty high.
That's why in these valleys we have more than 15 the underground channels.
In my opinion, the thing about these mummies is that after a while they kind of all start to look the same. So the first few were kind of cool, but just after a while it sort of looks like the same thing over and over again. So we're just gonna keep walking through.
Chauchilla Cemetery. This is one of the most sacred cemetery in this area. They have about 2,000 bones here and a lot of grave robbers, unfortunately, but the one that preserved here are pretty unique because everything is so well preserved. You can see all the bones, you can see some of the skin and the hair and some of the clothes. Now we're just gonna head back to the airport and gonna continue on with our journey in Nasca. Yeah, we're gonna sing some Nasca songs here. And we are back at the airport again, and this time hopefully we'll be able to fly over as planned. The weather is good, so it's supposed to be pretty clear and we're looking forward to it. It's such a tiny airport, but they have 10 different airlines so far that I've counted. Sorry. A lot of different airlines is flying over Nasca Lines. Yeah, good afternoon. Ready?
So after waiting an extra 4 hours for this flight, we're finally on it. No fault of the airlines. They can't control the weather, and it was a little overcast today. And Aeronasca is going to take us up over the Nasca lines. Holliff's just gone to pay the airport tax, and then we're going to get on the plane.
None of us had paid the airport tax, which is 30 soles. Right there. I knew we were supposed to pay it, but I just didn't know where to go. Just nobody asked for it.
So we are going with Aeronasca, right?
Yep.
And that is a company that we booked through Peru Hop. I think it was $80 each plus 30 soles for the airport tax.
It's so easy to book. All you have to do is just go to the Peru Hop website and you can scroll through and find the Nasca Lines extension and just book your trip there. Hello, I'm Halif. Mucho gusto. Michael. Already. Tilting.
What'd you think of that?
This is probably the smallest plane I've ever been, so I was a bit nervous, but it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, this was actually quite nice. What's your biggest surprise?
My biggest surprise is how tiny they are.
Yeah, I think I had the impression that these things were massive.
From above, 200 meters up, it is, you know, tiny, and
I think he said 64 meters.
64 meters up. And it's tiny, and you recognize some of them, like the spiders, the monkeys, the whales.
Totally worth it. Dish out the $80 to $100. Don't be cheap. Do it. It's totally worth it.
Glad we did it.
Yep, today we are actually... Crap.
Oh, it's here. Hola. What you got?
Inca Cola full of sugar for Hollis. Coca-Cola sin azúcar for me.